Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And some of the heartfelt personal cities that I grew up in, I try sometimes to make videos about with the challenges that take place, especially in St. Louis, Missouri, and in Chicago, Illinois. And we're seeing a high trend for a gentleman that's in his mid-50s, who was married at one time for over 20 years, has raised kids. My children are in their 20s now. And so you have this new millennium. And so for someone like myself, who is watching this canvas in society that has turned into a very overly sexualized society for these young people in our music, OnlyFans, social media, technology has replaced us as parents. Now kids can get all the information, positive or negative, through a push of a button now. As I said, OnlyFans, for example, other social media platforms that you see, many times it can be a positive thing, but it can also be something negative, where when I grew up in the 70s and 80s, we didn't have it. You had to ask your family members about the birds and the bees, and parents, uncles, aunts, about things that when you're trying to navigate your way through life. We have a heavy preponderance of mental illness. We have a huge opioid crisis, a huge homelessness situation in today's time. We have protests taking place on many of our university campuses due to the Gaza Strip war. And these are many challenges that young people are facing today. College tuition is going through the roof. People are making decisions on whether they should go to college, take out student loans, and there are many challenges today that I did not have growing up. But we also have a huge situation of gun violence, and I'm seeing a disturbing trend, and I'm seeing a lot of young people of color that are participating in negative activity that is leading and pointing their future in the wrong direction. And I want to bring up one here of a teen that is having challenges and is making all the wrong decisions, which will lead him into prison and or to, unfortunately, death if he doesn't correct his life. Here we go. Teen certified as adult facing 53 charges for thefts throughout St. Louis County. Juanell Carter, 17, faces charges of burglary, stealing, and property damage. A 17-year-old boy certified as an adult faces dozens of charges in relation to thefts spanning a year throughout St. Louis County. Juanell Carter, 17, was charged with 53 counts, including burglary, stealing, and property damage for thefts that occurred between June 2022 and June 2023. The St. Louis County Family Court certified Carter as an adult. The St. Louis County prosecutors issued charges against Carter for 38 counts of first-degree property damage, 7 counts each of stealing a motor vehicle and other items, 5 counts of stealing a firearm, 2 counts of first-degree burglary, and 1 count of stealing more than $750 or more. According to the probable cause statement, Carter smashed the windows of several cars throughout St. Louis County. Police said he stole purses, credit cards, guns, and vehicles. Carter and an unnamed accomplice also broke into garages at 2 St. Louis County homes, police said, and stole a purse with credit cards at one of the homes. Police arrested Carter while he was driving a stolen car and found several of the stolen items inside. Police identified Carter as a suspect after matching his fingerprints to those left inside one of the cars that had been broken into. Investigators also found Carter's Instagram page, which offered for sale a gun that was stolen from one of the cars for $250. Oh, it said, when I see that, because I go into the juvenile detention centers every week to mentor the youth and talk to them about my mistakes, said Bobby Bostic, a local author. In 2022, Bostic was released from prison after serving 27 years of what was supposed to be a 241-day sentence. He was behind bars for his role in an armed robbery he committed when he was 16 years old. Bostic has since written books about his experiences, hoping to reach troubled teens early before they turn to violence and crime. He said, I can relate to the disturbing case of the 17-year-old. In many ways, I was a child when I committed my crime, but I too was certified as an adult. I try to teach the youth how to write business plans because a lot of the crime centers from poverty, and a lot of that crime that they are committing, it leads to serious consequences, Bostic said. The person has to be willing to accept the responsibility of change, said Eric Barber, another gentleman, founder of Common Goals and Minds. 4 years ago, Barber started a community-based program. One of the nonprofit's goals is to keep boys 14 and up on the right track. It's a community issue. We should have someone advocating, stepping up, and trying to steer them in the right direction, Barber said. Carter, which is this particular article is about, was booked in the St. Louis County Jail, where he remained on a $25,000 bond. If he posts bond, a judge ordered he must wear a GPS monitoring device. I had to bring this story up because I'm seeing a large preponderance of young people, especially young men of color, that are committing such egregious and heinous crimes and destroying their own community. And they're committing these crimes against people that look like them. I've done several videos, one in Chicago several months ago where 2 kids had left for lunch down in the Chicago Loop, which is the heart of downtown Chicago, and 3 or 4 guys got out of an SUV and shot and killed both of them on their lunch break on a Friday afternoon. Terrible. You hear the story that took place in Philadelphia, where 8 teenagers after school got shot at a bus stop. We have got to start talking about these issues and not turning a blind eye or being worried about being castigated by mentioning these things, because our young people and their future is going in the wrong direction. And this is a young kid who evidently has come from a troubled background, or there's trouble within himself, to be 17 years old, who has been alleged to have committed over 53 counts of burglary, robbery, stolen vehicles, and St. Louis County had no decision but to charge him as an adult. This is a very clear example of a troubled soul. And many of these instances are going back to poverty, inept inner city public schools, fatherless homes, and we have to, even guys in my age group, we have to figure out a way, the system, the community, the culture has to figure out a way to redirect this negative energy into something positive. If you follow this storyline, and he's 17 years old, he's just beginning life, and how in the world does he already has accomplished, I guess you would call it, negatively, over 53 charges. Stealing guns, stealing cars, burglaries, breaking into people's homes. If you look at where he is headed, it is either going to be him murdering somebody, getting murdered, and or if the most positive thing out of this is to get arrested and get incarcerated. But what happens if that takes place, he gets incarcerated versus killing somebody or being killed, we don't have a rehabilitation system in prison. And for a 17-year-old to go to an adult prison, what do you think is going to happen if he does 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? He's going to be worse than when he before he goes to prison. There will be no rehabilitation. There will be no psychological and psychiatric treatment modalities for this gentleman. He will end up being worse off. There are many predators, older guys my age, that will prey on this 17-year-old, especially if he comes from nothing, from a monetary standpoint, and is going to be asking individuals to help him out in prison. And you know what that looks like. If you ask anybody to do something as a favor, you're going to owe them your life. With this kind of illegal background, he probably is a gang member, will probably infiltrate himself into his neighborhood gang, and there will be not 1 ounce of positivity or restoration to redirect this young man into the right direction. But there are many kids that are doing this in many of our major cities, and there are many kids of color that are doing this. And we're going to lose an entire generation between the opioid crisis, gun violence, inept inner city public schools, and the destruction that we're doing to ourselves and to others. I had to do a video about it. I think this is extremely disturbing for this young man to have 53 charges of thefts in St. Louis County. Not only is he destroying himself, he's destroying his community, he's destroying the city and the county for the places he's going and doing these things. And he's not the only one. We need to put shining light on these scenarios. We need to try to find mentorships. We need to try to find rehabilitation for these young people in a positive way and redirect their energy into something positive. You can build a future doing the right thing all the time versus doing the wrong thing all the time. We got one life to live. We need to tell these young folks, and living it in a positive, garnering the great things about this country and this world, smelling the roses, having a dog, building a family is way more important than being incarcerated for the rest of your life. This is a very disturbing story, and there are many kids and many kids of color that are facing these same charges and are committing and causing the same kind of destruction throughout many of our cities and our states and across this country. Our system, we need to look in the mirror. Us as men need to look in the mirror, us as black men, and to a certain degree, we have failed these young people as leaders and as representatives of our culture. And this systemic negativity and this systemic destruction that is taking place needs to end immediately. We need positivity, we need righteousness, we need God in our lives, and try to make sure that we do the right thing. So each generation should not go backwards from the previous generation. Each generation should go forward, and we should be passing the baton in a positive direction. Tell me what you think. Teen certified as an adult facing 53 charges of thefts throughout St. Louis County, and is leading him to prison, the prison system pipeline, and not leading him to college or an educational system pipeline, which would be more advantageous for his life than spending his youth, his teen years, and his early 20s in prison. Nothing positive comes out of prison. Nothing positive comes out of burglary or death. Tell me what you think. This has been a Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth in a positive, righteous, and God-fearing way.